today, if you've been with us all week, on discovering different types of guilt and how to be set free in our souls. Part of your soul detox is for me to teach you about different forms of guilt, and then to help you find and recognize any that may be ghosting your soul, and then coach you in applying the steps to detox to your freedom. Your soul has these contaminants in them and are causing you to operate in other ways than your authentic self. So when it comes to guilt, Sigmund Freud was the expert, but he certainly didn't have a corner on the market. Guilt comes in many forms, but when all is said and done, it can be boiled down to a few of these simple procedures. Let's start first. Guilt is first and foremost an emotion. You've heard that every day this week. Guilt is first and foremost an emotion. You may think of guilt as a good way to get someone to do something for you if you're used to manipulating people out of guilt, or to do something for you as a sense of obligation, but it's more accurate to think of guilt as an internal state. In the overall scheme of emotions, guilt is in the general category of negative feeling states. Remember yesterday we talked about thought brings feelings and emotions. So don't change the feeling and emotion, change your thought to get it out of one of the sad emotion state. It also is included with agony, grief, and loneliness. So from a cognitive point of view, guilt is an emotion that people experience because they have convinced themselves they have caused harm. They've let someone down. It could have been physical. It could have been emotional. They carried the weight of a situation and they felt like they dropped it. The emotion of guilt follows directly from the thought that you are responsible for someone else's misfortune, whether it is the case or not. So with this information, how you can cope when guilty feelings come your way is going to be key for you. Number one for you today, guilt for something you did. Guilt for something you did. The most obvious reason to feel guilty is that you actually did something wrong. This type of guilt may involve harm to others, such as causing someone physical or even psychological pain. You may also feel guilty because you violated your own ethical or moral standards, such as by cheating, lying, or stealing. Guilt over your own behavior can also be caused by doing something you swore, you would never do again. Fill in the blanks. What is it? Something that you swore you would never do again, and you found yourself doing it again. Overspending, blowing that diet. What was it? How deep was it? You fill in the blanks. Each of these cases, there's no doubt that behavior occurred. So it's appropriate to feel guilty when you've done something wrong, including letting yourself down. Feeling the emotion of guilt for an action deserving of remorse is normal. To not feel guilt at all is the worst type of personality you could ever have. We talked about that the other day. The problems occur when you ruminate over this guilt. It is better to accept the fact that it happened, apologize to the person or persons that you may have harmed, and then figure out how to avoid committing the same act again. That is key. That's going to release you from a guilty conscience. If you violated your own personal standards, through any kind of misuse or cheating on your partner, seeking support from someone who can help you to keep on the up and up is key here. Accountability is key. And the key to accountability is first having an accountability partner. Another area to watch for is egocentrism. We assume that others place far more importance on our thoughts and actions than they actually do. So sometimes we're guilty of what we think people are thinking about us, and it's really just our own egos. Guilt for something you didn't do but want to do is my next thought. You're thinking about committing an act in which you deviate from your own moral code or engage in behavior that is dishonest, unfaithful, or even illegal. You may have mentally lusted after someone other than your spouse or your partner. This is a tough type of guilt to handle because you didn't actually do anything. But yet, because of our conscious minds and how intricate God has made our minds, your body is still going to register guilt for an act you did not commit. So you're sitting on this moral high ground of guilt. Now, we all know that the very fact that you're contemplating an act that violates your own standards is guilt-provoking. That's the way we're biologically made. So how we're going to get out of that is, number one, you're going to decide whether you want to be better or not. Number two, you're going to stop beating yourself up immediately when you make the decision that you want to be better. And then you're going to stop the feelings of guilt, because having a defense to the guilt may actually cause the guilt to prey against you and cause you to continually fall because you're defending it instead of confronting it. So there is some therapy and coaching that can go hand in hand with this, where it can help you cope with this type of guilt. And what we want you to do is to study guilt, find out where it shows up in your life, and then have someone attack these thoughts with you. You have to accept these thoughts as a part of who you are just right now, and then commit yourself to changing your behavior so that you don't follow through on those thoughts again. Commit yourself with a coach or a trusted friend. I personally recommend a coach or a therapist. That's my recommendation, and I'll tell you why. If you go to my website, SuzanneMHoward.com, and you look at my blogs, I did a blog about receiving advice or therapy from family or friends. It works. We've done it for centuries. We've done it before there were coaches. We've done it in families before there were counselors. Grandma on the front porch would be our best counsel and advice. However, sometimes information leaks out in the family, and you aren't the type that is that transparent or vulnerable to your information being leaked out. That's why we hire therapists or coaches. Or you have a friend, and let's say your friend took you through when you were cheating on your spouse. Now you're healed, your accountability is up, you're not into this type of behavior anymore. How does your friendship stay intact now that you've grown? Because every time you make a change in your life, you become a better version of you. That 2.0 I talked about earlier on this week. So as you become 2.0, your friend may not be 2.0, or your friend may still want to remember from time to time when you did, who you were. So it causes a problem, a rift, if you will, in the relationship. So if you have those type of friends that you think can grow through this with you, then grow through it with them. But if not, it's always better to hire a coach or a therapist so that your main relationship with them isn't family or friend. It is the business of bringing out the best in you. After all, if you're not going to be authentic, who is? So I left you a lot of steps today. Some good work to do. If you want to take these steps even further, you can contact us. All of my information is going to show at the end of this video. I hope you're enjoying these detoxes in the morning. Inbox me. Let me know if you're enjoying them and if there's any area that you'd like to hear about. I love to stay relevant with my audience. God bless you. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Have a supernatural day.